Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa, an expert on nothing, which allows me the privilege of discussing current news items. Today is March 26th, 2026 of the year of our Lord. This is a conservative-leaning podcast, but I do look at both sides of an argument when it comes to what I'm going to discuss. And today's discussion will be the insincerity of the Democrats and their proposals, which they say are new, to end the partial shutdown of the government. That's going to be one of the things I discuss. The other thing will be the continuing Iran war and where I think this is leading to. A little tidbit fun note that I'll discuss is a proposal made on the floor by the Democrats for National Women's Day, or that got kicked back. And it's pretty funny. The Democrats just cannot get their act together at all. All right. And then, of course, I'll have my normal commentary. I'm going to try to keep this to 30 minutes today. The Democrats are truly thinking that the American public is stupid. Their proposal to end the partial shutdown and of the government, which is impacting travel due to the fact that TSA employees are not being paid, and thus they're not showing up for work, which gets me into another subtopic of that. They say they have proposed new counter proposals. It's just the same proposal that they want. They want to defund ICE. They want to stop border protection. Here is the tidbit, folks. And here's the meat in the potatoes. President Trump was elected mainly because of his stance that immigration is not being enforced. There are no new laws on immigration. There have been no new laws on immigration. All the president is doing is saying the laws that we have on the books, we're going to enforce them. This somehow has triggered the Democrats in fighting and saying that no, ICE is the Nazis, though 32 people have been shot and killed by ICE since 2015. And up till 2025, January 20th, I think there was 23 people that had been killed by ICE. No screaming of being Gestapo. No screaming about being Nazis. Nothing. So what the Democrats have proposed is the same old stuff that they've been proposing. There's nothing new in it. They're circling and coming back. And the Republicans will have nothing to do with that. This is 100% on the Democrats. And anyone that says anything otherwise, I mean, they're absolutely a liar. The Democrats' pure hatred of Donald Trump and their inability to get past the fact that he got elected is now affecting American travelers. I said it before and I'll say it again. Shut the airports down. Just shut them down. If you're not willing to wait 2 or 3 extra hours to go through TSA, then don't fly. Don't fly. But we're not going to put our safety of the American public in jeopardy because you want to fly and you want to get through TSA in 32 minutes. Sorry. We're not going to make that compromise. And neither is the president, and neither is the Senate. You're just not going to get the votes. We're not going to do it. How many people must be murdered in the United States by illegals before the Democrats realize that they're on the losing end here? That the American voters will be reminded of this shutdown caused by them twice. The Democrats have nothing. If you go look in Jeffries was saying DHS must be funded, and we can't be derelict in our duties to do that. In the past, he has said that. Schumer has said about voting, about ID identification to vote is a must. And then all of a sudden now it's bad because this is what Trump won with. And the Democrats just can't move forward from that. The Democrats have been going back to their old playbook. We'll smear people, we'll say stuff, we'll make outrageous statements and not have them, there's no fact with it. We're just going to go out and, we're going to have the news people chase after all these things that don't exist. That's not going to work anymore. That is not going to work anymore. The American voters are getting fed up daily with the antics of the Democrats in Congress and the Democrats in the Senate. Fellas, there's going to be blowback, and it's going to be almost impossible for you to disengage your actions from the results, that you have your fingerprints on them. And if you don't think that every commercial is going to be skewed by the Republicans to point this out, you got another thing coming. And Democrats who are quietly, and when I say Democrat, I mean the voters. When I say Democrats, I'm talking about politicians. That's not my Democrats that live next door to me or anything like that. There's going to come a point where Democrats are going to say, your rank and file Democrats, the 60% non-fringed, these aren't the 28% of your voters that will just go in there and vote blue. Just like the Republicans have 28% of their people just go in and, vote red. You can count on that 28% on either side of the aisle here. I'm talking about your mainstream, your Reagan Democrats, your people that go, I want common sense here, and I'm not going to, just because I belong to a union, vote blue. Those are the people that you're losing right now, because you are hurting your own people. Your TSA and other agencies inside the federal government that are Democrats. Most of them are Democrats, or at least registered as Democrats. But believe me, again, you're going to have the rude awakening. They're not going to vote Democrat. They're going to go in there and go, you could have made this deal that was out there, and you didn't. You used me to try to get something that you're not going to get, and you roll the dice, and you know you're going to roll a 7 out, and you're betting on the pass line, and you think you're going to get some reward because the number's already out there, it's been established, and you roll, and you're going to roll a 7, and that's going to be the end of it. This shutdown, if you need something to save face with, that opportunity is gone. 6 weeks, that opportunity is gone. And now the Republicans are very comfortable in having TSA shut down. They're running around and they're trying to show, hey, we're trying to do something. They made an offer, we'll separate ICE and everything and put that to a different vote. And the Democrats turned it down. They turned it down. So the Republicans will be able to be on the side of the angels here and say, hey, we tried. We tried to separate this. And no, you guys keep circling back to what you originally want. And that, we can't do that. We just can't do that. So now you have a government shutdown. Now, the big, beautiful bill pays for a lot of things in there, but not Department of Homeland Security, ICE, Border Protection, and there's a whole thing, a bunch of things that fall in underneath there. Park rangers, there's a whole bunch of things. And you Democrats don't care about that. But the rank and file Democrats, they're going to have something to say about it. You're going to have Democrats that say, I'm not giving to the DNC. I'm just not going to do this. You have some Democrats saying, I just won't vote this year, which I am totally 100% against that. Never, ever, ever not vote. Go in there and vote for the other guy. That's fine. And you can come out and go, yeah, I voted for a Democrat, and walk away, or just say, well, I voted. That's it. But never not vote because you're upset with a party or an individual. Just vote for the other guy and don't say anything, but always vote. Because in reality, if you don't vote, you're voting for the other guy. That's what's happening. And if you really want to vote for your guy, get in there and vote for your guy. You're allowed, but never not vote. The Senate is not going to break away. You have enough Democrats and independents in there that are not going to break away. The only thing you can do at this point is try to find something that you could save face on, but I don't know if the Republicans are going to give it to you at this point. Honestly, don't. And I think come April, you'll bury yourselves. You will have to approve the bill as it stands. Because after April, then all you guys are going to be out there kissing babies and asking for donations. And if the government is still shut down, you are in a world of hope, because the Republicans can go out there and go, hey, we have a bill out there. Nothing changes in that bill that wasn't there the last time they voted for all this. Nothing. There's no new words in it. This is the stuff that's been there. The laws haven't changed. The agencies have not changed. Nothing has changed, except they want to make changes in it. And they're really just procedural changes, and which we've agreed to it for the most part. And they still won't vote for it because they want to change it. They want to defund it. And we're not doing that. So you guys get thrown out in the wash water. And it's on the Democrats. And the Republicans will be able to say to those Democrats that are not working and not getting paid, hey, you go tell your people that you're going to vote Republican, or this is not going to end. You must call your Democratic leaderships. You must send emails. You must do this and go, I will vote Republican if you don't get me a paycheck soon. Because they'll at least get me a paycheck and get my money back. The Democrats are saying, 300 TSA employees have quit already. There's tens of thousands of TSA employees. If you look at the average turnover per month, it's not that big of a change. People not showing up for work, that's another issue. And this is where now I will tie into, as Bob would say, my rhetoric. Bob in New York. If you don't show up for work and you do not have a plausible reason, and you might try to say not getting paid is a plausible reason. I will not say that is not a reason that most people could look at. Yeah, you don't pay me, I don't come to work. But you, in essence, abandon your job and you abandon your position. And you can turn around and go, well, no, they abandoned me. No, they're actually giving you an IOU, which your grocer or your mortgage company or the car lease or your loans and your credit cards, they won't take that IOU. I get that. I understand that. And if you feel that this job is not going to cut it for you anymore and you must find another job, then you have to sever your ties with it. Or figure out a way where I go to work, I do it, and then I go to another job. And that's asking people to do a lot, because if they're a single parent, how can they do that? They can't afford to do that. I get that. I understand. But when you work for the government, there are certain things that you're going to have to accept as a liability. And one of them is that your funds could be cut off. I don't like it. But this is the way that these agencies have been set up. You want to figure out a different way to do that, I'm all for it. Propose it, get it passed, get it in there, and it's done. Follow the process. But you have people now that are not going to work, or the stress now is too much for me, but they'll go into another job. Those people are going to find out that they're not protected from being fired, that they, in essence, have abandoned their job. And they're put in a very bad position, and a position that they might not be able to recover from. You could say, hey, I'm sick, I'm depressed, I'm this, and get a doctor's note, and all right, you followed the rules for being out. But if you don't do that, and if you do that, and you say, I'm so stressed out, I can't work like that. I can't work all these hours. I can't work with the stress of not knowing if I'm going to be paid. All these people are very upset with us, and I'm dealing with a hostile public here and people. That's very stressful. I can't do that. Well, that's fine. That's fine. You go and you get a doctor to agree with you on that and say that it's best for your health not to be in that type of situation, then by all means, stay home. But if you go out there and get a job somewhere else, and they go, well, it's a less stressful job. Okay, but you're out in the public. Those jobs didn't stress you. You had a job here. Did you go to your management and tell them that you want maybe paperwork job, or and they go, we can't accommodate you because there's a line out the door. We need you for what you were hired for. And if you can't do it, there's a phrase in contract language that goes unable or unwilling. If you're unable to do it because you're sick, well, then you're going to have to file disability and go that way. If you're unwilling and then go get another job, well, you abandon your job. So I will tell you that every contract has a clause in it like that when it comes to labor management. And every labor management has rules for the union and rules that management can enforce. And in every contract, except for what's called carve-outs, the union will agree to company policy and then list the exceptions to that rule and language that then goes into what those exceptions are. But unable or unwilling, that's in the union contract as we understand that. If I'm unable to do my job, or if I'm not willing to do my job, management can take actions leading up to disciplinary, up to termination. Now, with the when the air traffic controllers were not showing up and stuff like that, I mean, you're talking, a committal on training. and not saying that TSA they're not professional and they're not trained, and they have continual training, and it's not saying that you could just put someone in there and rumble through clothes and stuff. There's a lot of stuff that they are trained to look at people, to watch their actions, what to look for. And they're professional, but they're much more easier to replace than, let's say, an air traffic controller. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. It's not demeaning their jobs. It's not demeaning what they do. They're professionals, and they have to go through training. And but their training is certainly not like an air traffic controller or a training of a airframe and power plant, an AP person for repairing airplanes. Sorry, it's just not. TSA has an important job, absolutely. They're the front line of protecting flyers. And, absolutely they are a necessary job. But like anyone, you can be replaced. It's just how much hurt do you want to put on management? So I think that TSA employees are really being used by the Democrats, and the Democrats don't care about them. The Democrats don't care about any of the employees that fall under DHS and are being affected. They honestly do not care. I'd say not the majority, but there's enough of these Congress people that fly private jets that get a tag-along fly. Hey, I know you fly out from here to here every day. You take corporate people out there, and I'll disclose it, and I'll put it in the thing that we flew, and this was not a gift, but this was just they helped us out, and there was no handshake or anything. Happens all the time, and you have senators. Bernie Sanders flies private all the time because he says, I have to be at 3 different events in a day. How can I be everywhere? I can't fly commercial. So I mean, you see they're hypocrites. For them, they can't do it. But for you, you must. And as there's more of you than there are of us, I can affect a lot more people. And that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And you just don't get it. Or you don't care. Or you hate Trump so much that you don't care who's getting hurt. That could be the case. So, all right, it's been 30 minutes. I've been talking 30 minutes. I'm going to talk about 10 more minutes because, like I said, I go off the page. The war in Iran, you now have, and I said this before, you can't believe the Iranians. They lie about everything. First, we have no negotiations, nothing, and, we'll destroy you all. And then they come out and they go, well, we're talking, but we don't like Witkoff. We don't like Kushner. We want new people. We want J.D. Vance. Well, you know what, guys? You don't get to tell the president of the United States who's going to negotiate with us. We've been through that with North Vietnamese. A round table, square table, how many? We're not playing that game. We're not playing that game with you, Iran. You don't want to negotiate? We'll blow the hell out of you. We'll just keep bombing you. And then we'll make it worse and worse and worse for you. Unless you want to sit down at a table with our people and hammer out some type of an agreement. But if you do not, if you go, no, I will only talk to that person. Well, no. We're not going to do that. These are the people that I'm sending. And if you want to backtrack and keep moving the goalposts down, as you've done for 47 freaking years, we'll just blow those goalposts down. And then you don't have to worry about moving them anymore. How about that? I think Trump is entering a phase of this that he's got to be careful with. I mean, Iran is still shooting stuff at Israel. They still have some teeth to them. But those teeth are getting knocked out every day, and then eventually you're going to be gumless. And what Iran is trying to do is put enough pressure on the United States so they got some teeth left. And then they could make dentures and eventually have a full mouth again. And teeth. And a defanged Iran can only help whatever administration in the United States that comes next, be it Republican or Democrat, it can only help them. Democrats should quietly, and I keep saying this, support Trump. Everyone should question what the government is doing. I have no problem with that. But some of the questions that they're asking, why now? Well, because you didn't do anything for the last 47 years is why now. And you had Iran sitting at the negotiating table saying, well, we have enough enriched plutonium, fellas, that if we wanted to, we could make 10 nuclear weapons. And more if we wanted to. And now they are using the threat of making nuclear weapons, which they said they were never going to do, but they are now using that as a threat, and guess what? We'll never allow you to do that. They did hands off of a nuclear North Korea, and bully for Bill Clinton, who wanted to attack North Korea, surgically attack them and prevent them from having a nuclear program, but was told politically not to do that. And he had to back off that 15 minutes away from ordering a strike against North Korea. And how nice would it have been not to have to deal with a nuclear North Korea? They were worried about, well, if we attack them, China would then go probably after Taiwan, and it would be an escalation. And I think if we would have went to China 30 minutes before and go, this is why we're doing this. And you can warn them as much as you want. They're not going to be able to do anything. And we're going to take them out. And we're not looking for a regime change. We're just going to stop their program. I think China would have been, no, you can't do this. No, we're doing this. because someone has been helping them with their nuclear program, their weapons program. And if it was you or if it was Russia, you got now 25 minutes to notify your people to get as far away from those installations as they can. Because now in 22 minutes, we're going to attack it. That's all that was needed to be done. Iran has been a pain. Murdered millions of people. Murdered their own people. And you have people protesting that, no, the poor Iran. And you have these liberals that are, out there, Iran, we support the Iranian regime. Yeah, go over there and see what they would do to you. Total, I can't even think of why you would support Iran. Makes no sense. Again, with the Democrats, National Women's Day, they tried to make legislation to make March National Women's Day. And the Republicans said, sure, we'll agree to that. If in your declaration you declare what a woman is, because we know what a woman is, we want to hear it from you. Put it down there in writing. They withdrew it. And the whole floor of the delegations and everyone just started laughing. And this is the, and that was from Pennsylvania. And you have the Democrats again just failing to take the temperature of the people and see where they're standing. And they're just looking at the Democrats and go, do you have any idea? Do you have any idea? You have John Fetterman going, what are you doing? What are we doing here? This makes no sense. This is all going to come back on us. And you got people telling the Democrats, stop what you're doing, step back. And you're going to have many Democrats now, April, May, June, getting off that bus because they know it's heading right for a wall. And you had Republicans who jumped off, when Trump was elected, I'm not going to run again. I'm announcing I'm not going to run again. And I'm sure they're second guessing themselves because they thought, this was going to be a real show, as they say, an S show. And it really hasn't. It really has not. Not yet, at least, and anything can happen. But I think it's time for the Democrats to go, we lost. Let's try to get things in here that have expiration dates. Let's get things in here that, for the good of the workers, we're going to agree to this. Because the Republicans would just keep, fighting with and we never get this approved. Let them try to spin it around the other way. But what you're doing right now, Democrats, is foolish. Absolute foolish. And it's going to cost you. And if you think you're going to win, you'll win blue seats. You'll have some seats that will never change. But I think you're going to have big changes in states. Hochul is going to be out. You're going to have a Republican in there. You're going to have Republicans win a lot of state seats. And you're going to have Republicans win and hold both houses. You have guaranteed this. Democrats, you have guaranteed it. And you just can't see it. You refuse to see it. And some of these things you can't even spin because there's no spin to it. There's no spin to it. Where's all the screaming about Epstein? Right? Couldn't get any traction there, so that goes off. Now we'll go with TSA. Now we'll go with immigration. You had 2 people shot in Minnesota. Both were good shootings. And they're murdering people. Well, no, we're murdering people that tried to murder us. It's called self-defense. Now, are there cases where ICE has lied or did something? Yeah, absolutely. It has happened. And it's been exposed, and it's being dealt with. That happens. Happens all the time. And as I said, that's fine to be vigilant and be on top of it and go, you want to follow the law, you better follow the law. And that goes for both parties. You don't, we'll call you out on it, and you're gonna face that. But that's not been the case. The amount of incidences where the police or ICE have went overboard is much, 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 much lower than those where ICE has followed the rules, grabbed these people. Yes, you can grab them off the street. It's a true fact. I'm not going to sit here and go, ICE doesn't do that. But we grab criminals off the street every day. The police do. What's the problem? 1.6 million people are on the deport immediate. There's no more talking. There's no more. You don't get any of this. You abandoned your claim. You didn't follow the rules, and this is court action saying deport. 1.6 million. And how are we to find it when the police aren't allowed to tell ICE, or the courts are protecting, the state courts are protecting them? How can we do it? Well, you got to go to the streets and find them. And this is all on the Democrats, all on sanctuary cities, which, you can't make a sanctuary city. You have to pass a law to do that. A mayor can't, or the governor can't just decree it. Ridiculous. And I know I was talking about Iran, and I circled on back because I'm allowed to circle on this show. All right, everyone. 45 minutes, enough. Please give to a charity if you can. I can understand if you're not happy about doing that. That's fine. Just don't give to any charity. Check them out. Don't become a victim trying to help victims. If you're not happy with that, please think about giving to a food bank. That's something that happens for the most part locally, and you could see the results of that. They can also use a monetary donation so they can immediately help people as they see fit. Say a prayer. Prayer does work. no matter what a Democrat might tell you. And with that, everyone be safe, be good, and I'll catch you later. As I fade to black.